G'day everyone, Artist Wayne here and welcome to Frying Pan Creek. Organised by this bloke here, Mad Mal. Also riding is the pin-up boy for Amarok Australia, Adrian.
We lost it.
And rounding out the team on this camping and riding weekend was Grant, Anthony and Clint. We'd all camped the night before and within half an hour of leaving, this is where we found ourselves. On a Charles Spadowski trail. You see, before we left I asked some riders for their GPS files. And one of those people happened to be our mate Charles Spadowski, aka Jason the Bodyguard. Now Jason is renowned for taking us on some pretty gnarly trails. And when Mal suggested why don't we take this one, we thought, well, how hard can it be? That of course was our first mistake. You also need to realise that it was hot. It was damn hot. It was in the high 30s.
There's a trail up around there.
And we'd only just begun. Now I don't know why I had to check out this trail that skirted these giant fallen trees, but the first thing that happened was I got stuck on some kind of stump. And then as Grant was helping me, he just let go of the bike. And of course I dropped it. And of course it flooded. And of course the battery went flat. In the end we needed to remove Clint's battery to get my bike started. And did I mention it was hot? Well, after about an hour of fixing my bike, it was now time to climb back out of this hellhole. But once we were out, and after I recovered from the small heart attack I just had, it was time to hit some trails, and none of them would be Jason's. In fact, if Jason's name was even mentioned, it would be followed by a barrage of profanities. It was now time for some nasty hill climbs and some quick singles. But I must say us DR boys were having a hard time. My clutch was starting to slip and Grant was narrowly missing trees. Yes, we were now following Alan Wilson's GPS files, which was supposed to have plenty of creek crossings. The scenery was lovely, but there were no creek crossings. So after swearing at Alan Wilson, it was time to make our own fun. And after Adrian's drop bear attack, we were able to find some awesome single trails. Single trails and plenty of hills. There are hills everywhere. Rocky, gnarly, nasty hills. And I was leaving a trail of bike parts behind me. The poor DR was starting to fall apart. As you can see, it was an epic first day, and we'd certainly worked up a thirst. It was was almost time to head back to camp and crack a cold one. We just had one creek crossing to get through.
Don't drop it. That's it. Oh shit. Were you in control of that bike or were you just sitting on it? That bike wasn't there, be right? Nah. Yeah, nothing would have gone in it. No, yeah, it's on the other side. So
And that, my friends, was day one. It's always a fantastic day when no one gets hurt and there are no breakdowns.
Adrian.
Rockstar.
Anthony.
Again. It's lights off again.
Oh. Adrian.
Come on now!
After a great night full of laughs, it was time for day two. Grant just needed to turn his fuel on. And within 5 minutes of leaving camp, this is where we ended up.
Started already. That's what I just said. It started already.
Sorry, Adrian, but I was holding your bike. The truth's out. That's why it was so hard to push.
I'm turning around, boys. See you at the bottom.
Yep, Grant and I turned back. And we waited ages for the boys to turn up, and when they actually did, they had found out that that trail was a dead end, and they had to go back over those fallen trees. Anyway, it was a new day and we were finding plenty of new trails. My DR was continuing its process of dismantling itself. I even had to borrow some fencing wire to keep the thing together. You can imagine the shock the other boys must have been going through. Not in their wildest dreams would they ever have thought they would see this happening. Now today being just as hot, if not hotter, than yesterday, we thought it'd be a great idea to head over towards Barrington Tops after visiting Chichester Dam and Boot Hill, of course. We were told there was a great waterhole in the Barrington Tops that you could swim in, so that's where we headed. and after a refreshing swim at the ladies' well, it was time to hit the trails and head back to camp. It had been an awesome weekend of epic proportions. 2 full days of riding some magnificent trails around the beautiful camping spot they call Frying Pan Creek. Nothing beats hitting the trails all day and sitting around a campfire all night, laughing and drinking with great mates. So thanks Mad Mel, Clint, Adrian, Grant and Anthony for an awesome weekend to remember. I'm Artist Wayne Dowson, and thanks for watching everyone.